Hi, Shubham.
Hi, sir.
Hey, we're on shared bandwidth right now, right?
Yes, sir.
Well,
Actually, I think I am audible.
you are.
Yeah. Actually, in our college, I talked to our network teacher. He told us that we have around 1,000 Mbps in our campus, but I don't know where the bandwidth is going. So yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. It could be all those. Could be all those movies that you're pirating. Maybe stop doing that while you're on a video call. You know.
Yeah, maybe it is maybe one of the reasons, and also some smart students or people use net data or something for their own beneficial sources. This how the results will be.
You were a bit less audible just then. Um, but yeah, no. And actually, I was just trying to razz you, make a joke about maybe people downloading movies or something like that. But yeah, it's got to be pretty frustrating for you guys. That is actually one of the things that, as we go to partner with UEM Jaipur, that I'm going to take a note of. That maybe there's, I don't know, some way to get some reserved bandwidth, or or I don't know, um, because without it, it makes it difficult for you guys to engage. So let me take a note. Because yeah, Professor Doss did send an email. I don't know, a week or more ago, and we need to respond and encourage there. Um, I'm assuming that Garish is on the call, who's got a couple of action items there that hopefully he would have executed on yesterday. Garish, if you've got video, pull it up. We are 3 minutes into the call. I'll put the meeting minutes here. And I will share the meeting minutes. Okay, good. I'm just going to take some extra notes until we have a few others that join. Shubham and Anand, are you guys able to access the meeting minutes? Go ahead and record your attendance.
Yeah, sure. I do.
Hey.
So, yeah, actually, I was going to tell you that Sean told me to uh, tell you to check the message.
Got it. Okay, your audio cut out for just a second, but Shubham was saying a bit earlier that he's got at least an exam, I think tomorrow, and then I expect maybe you do as well. It's exams time for you guys.
Yes, sir.
Are you headed back home next week?
Yes, sir. I will head back home next week.
Okay.
At the
Okay.
end of the next week.
Does that mean you guys take these exams and you'll have a break between? Is this like end of semester?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How long do you get off from school? Oh, very good. Okay. Well, I don't know and about 2 months in the summer. Okay. So I don't know how many festivities and how busy it is for you guys over winter. But actually, Anand, with your familiarity with Go and with Meshery, this might be the opportunity for you to break out of Meshery CTL. There's an item or two that are on the easier side of things, but it's a holistic feature. And so let's talk about it for a moment and see if it makes sense to you. It's both Grafana and Prometheus chips in the UI. And so let's take a look at that after we get going here.
Okay, sir.
All right.
Sure, sir.
All right. I'll share my screen. Garish was having some issues with his laptop, so he's going to restart. I'm bringing up the meeting minutes, so Shubham, Anand. By the way, Anand, it's Anand Kumar Singh, right? I'm not getting it in the wrong order, right?
No, sir, that's correct.
Okay, good. Okay, couple items. Let me start up Docker locally. Wow. I'm a bit embarrassed to say that I need to start up Docker on my machine, given that Nuno would point out that I'm wearing my Docker captain's vest.
I will never do that.
Shh. Keep that quiet. All right. So Docker is starting. I'm bringing up Docker so I can bring up Meshery, so we can take a look at the UI and talk about those Prometheus and Grafana chips. And actually, since Nuno's on the call too, it'll be good to have him weigh in on user experience with respect to these chips. So, you know what? Maybe I'll do. So I think Shubham said that he's probably only got about 10 minutes or so on the call, and we're halfway through that already. Let me go through these announcements in a minute. They'll be there for you guys to look at later. I'll go through those in a minute because we're going to lose Shubham and we might lose Anand as well. So let me bring up Meshery.
We can extend a bit, but there's no specific time. We can extend.
Okay. Hopefully just maybe 15 minutes, and then we'll be done. So I'm I'm updating the latest version of Meshery. Now I'm starting Meshery. Wow, that Meshery CTL works beautifully. What an amazing piece of work that is, Anand. Nuno. Okay. All right. So.
No, it's okay. Sorry, I just entered the train. That's why. And I'm on the phone. Oh, nice. I like that.
Nice.
But it's only okay. So it's the layer 5 always logo, but that's cool.
Well,
Looks
no.
neat.
Yeah, you know what? Actually, since you bring it up, that's a. There are two logos. So this circular one. This one is dedicated to Meshery, the thatched circle, if you will. I should probably have a better way of describing that, but
Yeah, sorry, you mean Meshery, right? Sorry, yeah, Meshery logo, not layer 5.
Right. And actually, let me. Actually, that's a good point. I need to sign in. Boy, let me establish the right connection with Meshery. Log out. Log in is Lee. All right. Log out of Meshery. Get a new session going, hopefully. Yep. but it looks like I don't have. Let me bring up a new window here. It looks like I may have a stale session, so. Bear with me. I guess not. Okay, well, so in the UI, this is unfortunate. The thing I wanted to show you guys was I wanted to talk about the ability to check connections. Like if you click on a chip, an adapter chip, here in the main portion of the UI, it does a quick test. It does a quick ping test. Ping in quotes, not exactly ICMP, but it does a quick connectivity test. And in this case, it can't speak to its adapters. So that's great. You can do that test. When you've got Kubernetes connected, Grafana and Prometheus, you should be able to do those same types of quick connectivity tests. We have that feature implemented for Kubernetes, but we don't have that for Grafana or Prometheus. And so Shubham and Anand, that was the thing I was going to highlight to you guys as you head into the long winter, that there are two issues out here about this. It's so here's the one for Grafana. It's to allow ad hoc connectivity tests. So this issue 391 is, more or less, will require a bit of a UI update and a bit of a back-end update. The functionality is relatively straightforward and can be based off of how it works for the Kubernetes ping test and the adapter ping test. So again, there's one for Grafana and an issue for Prometheus. Does that make sense to you, Shubham and Anand? So we'll write it down. Connectivity tests for Grafana and Prometheus. As I talk about that, maybe Nuno, with your power user hat on, does that feel like functionality that would be somewhat intuitive, something that you would take advantage of, that you would enjoy, that if you were to click on the Prometheus chip in the UI, that if any...
Yeah, so the power user, yes, definitively. And I know that adding too much visuals is never good neither. So right now it's quite nice. Maybe, it's not something that might feel like it's almost like a hidden feature, Nothing tells me that by clicking one of the chips I can test the connectivity. So maybe under adapters or something like that, I don't know. I know that we want to keep it clean, but I would like maybe just add a small note like click on adapter to check connectivity or something like that.
Yeah, it's a good point. Not only
or on the helper, on the mouse over, why not? Because otherwise it will be like a great feature, but not visible.
Mm-hmm. Right, and I think more like to the extent that you roll your mouse over and it shows you a tooltip, great. To the extent that you roll your mouse over and it highlights the button, a bit, and it changes your mouse pointer to a hand. That helps indicate to you that it's clickable, but I don't know that as a user you would necessarily intuitively understand that by clicking it you would invoke a test. You might.
No, yeah, that's the point.
Yeah, it's a good thought that after you do the first one, you're like, okay, well, anytime I click on a chip, it's probably going to do a quick test to just make sure that we're connected. But is that really what I want to do as a user all the time? Do I need to?
Because once you use, or again, I'm speaking just for myself, but once you start using it, maybe by clicking the adapter, we might think that it will get us to the page of the adapter.
Right.
And maybe from there, if you go to console or Istio or whatever, and maybe from there have check connectivity. I know it's shorter, but it's just in terms of thinking of what buttons do, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. That I think that I would agree with you that probably the most intuitive thing from a user's perspective is that when you click on a chip, like an adapter chip, that would probably navigate you in the UI over to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, and from there we have, let's say, everything. We can install it, we can install the apps, maybe have maybe just a button at the top of the page where the adapter uses check connectivity or something like that. Why not?
Right.
But again, this feature is really, really nice. Definitely a must-have.
Yeah, and I think to your point, it's probably a point in time of where the project is today that this connectivity test is a nice to have. It does feel good and it is helpful, but in the end, when the project is done, or if that's ever the case, that certainly not on the dashboard. Would you really want to be focused on the health of Meshery itself? Rather, what you're interested in is probably the health of any of those service meshes that you've provisioned, and whether or not you're connected to them and how many you're connected to. That the ability to test a Meshery adapter's connectivity is great, but you might expect to see it inside of the settings area or a little bit more behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm. The thing is that we should try maybe to avoid redundancy. How do we navigate, right? So from the dashboard page, we do have the buttons of the adapters.
Right.
That's cool. But then on the left, we have also the adapters.
Right.
Right? So if both buttons do the same, then it's a bit redundant. What do we want to achieve with the buttons on the dashboard in the long run, right?
Yeah.
So the Grafana on dashboard, total sense. That's a dashboard. The Kubernetes current connectivity makes sense. It's maybe on the adapters it will be more than what I was saying, maybe just the list of adapters that are connected, and then the button using it for connectivity test makes sense. Mm-hmm. Instead of listing the same as the left side, right? Mm-hmm. Or on the other side is do not list all the adapters on the menu on the left and add the adapters there. Maybe, I don't know, add two proposes from the menu on the left and the adapters menu on the dashboard.
Right. Yeah.
Again, just a thought, but yeah.
No. Yeah. Good directional heading. Yeah, and I think as a point in time of where functionality is, this wouldn't be ideally where you would end up landing. And that, yeah, if you do have multiple ways of navigating to the same area, that that a lot of times that can make sense to the extent that you have a different task in front of you. Like one might be, but and so in context of what the task is, it can make sense. I don't know that we have very clearly articulated set of tasks written down. I think intuitively we understand that people are going to want to, that Meshery manages the life cycle of many meshes, and that Meshery itself, needs to be understood, and for people to be able to to understand its health. Yeah, right now the dashboard is stuck back on where we are in terms of functionality.
Yeah, but the dashboard, like Girish was showing every time when he has like the performance, I mean, Prometheus, Grafana, whatever metrics server or service that we will add makes sense to be on a dashboard. Right. Connectivity status makes sense on a dashboard. I mean, dashboard kind of redundant, right? We don't want to do things, we want to look at them. Now, in terms of adapters, that's just my point here. Like everything else for me makes total sense. Just the adapters looks weird on being the left, all the adapters listed, and on this adapters box, the same, being listed, all of them. So what is the goal? Right? On the left is really a menu. We are, let's say, going back and forth between the adapters that we might have connected.
Right. Yeah, I'm going.
Then it means on the dashboard, we might want, I agree, we might want maybe this connectivity test, but then just mentioning that is a connectivity test instead of just adapters is like test connectivity or connectivity tests for adapters, and then you have the adapters installed potentially there, not all of them. Like for me, the most confusing, and it's the point that I keep bringing so far, is like at some point in time, I imagine, right, that someone is in front of Meshery and the servers are elsewhere, right?
Right.
So the Kubernetes servers are elsewhere, and I go away, I install my stuff, but I go away, let's say. Now Girish comes, looks at the words file that I prepared for him with the IP there. Of course, I would have to do that one. But anyway, so, and then he goes here and he sees, oh, so he's competent, more than competent than me, for sure, but he's competent enough to say like, okay, what did we install? Maybe there's changes, maybe there's a request, I don't know, somewhere like in our own ticketing system. Mm-hmm. But if we want maybe to fix something fast, we might need to see at first glance maybe which adapters are on and not. And then make the test connectivity. Let's say that we install console, but we did not install ECIO. Why should I have like a button with ECIO, test connectivity, when I do know that I didn't install it? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why I said like the redundancy. What I speak about redundancy is more redundancy of layout and function. Mm-hmm. So if the buttons do exactly the same as the menus on the left, that's redundancy. If the menus on the left is for going from one mesh to another, okay, to manage them, and then the adapters in the middle are buttons for doing something else, it's not redundant per se. So that's cool.
Right. Yeah, and that also, to your point, like, hey, if you're not going to ever run network service mesh, just console and Octarine, or for example, then maybe at some point you wouldn't really want to see network service mesh anymore. Right now, it's helpful for people understanding that Meshery is capable of running, interfacing with those systems. But in the future, it would be nice if there was a preference to have to only show connected meshes not all of the capabilities, and kind of the
But then potentially here the adapters will be nice to have all the meshes that are available to us then.
Right. Yeah. And also
and then we have a purpose on these buttons here that are not redundant with the menus.
Yeah. Also, if you wanted to turn off an adapter and basically not run one just because you're never going to use a particular one, that might be nice for people as well.
Can we like I would say stop a service mesh, like enable disable without uninstalling, because I mean, okay, Meshery helps installing and everything, but I guess that some people will like to configure it themselves, right?
Right.
So can they suddenly like just, let's say, disable it without doing the uninstall, because reinstalling might be again a bit cumbersome.
Right. Yeah. I'm taking some notes.
Okay, but yeah, other than that, yeah, sorry. Other than that, it's looks. I like that. Thanks.
Okay. Good. Okay. I know. So Shubham has to go, but he did have this topic. Hopefully, everyone can see the image, the screenshot that I'm sharing. So Shubham was pointing out that what's essentially a known issue, and one reason I was hesitant to go forth with the new community buttons is that they're not mobile friendly. And so the screenshot that he's sharing is that when you're viewing layer 5 IO/Meshery in mobile view, the buttons fall off the page, and that's a great call out, Shubham. We should put in an issue. Right, no, but it should always make sense on mobile. To your point, Shubham, it should certainly be mobile friendly. Many people look at Meshery IO and layer 5 IO from their mobiles. So it needs to be responsive, and actually, despite some of the time that we've put into these particular buttons, really, I think the right way to go here is to reuse the I'll show them to you. There's a different set of social, or rather, social is the wrong word. There's a different set of buttons that are actually, and I'm sharing them here, that everyone's familiar with. There's been some work done on them, both to make them a bit interactive. They've got a big tooltip. They also change colors when you roll over them. They're SVGs. They feel good. They're also are set up to be responsive to the extent that they're SVGs. And so anyway, my point is like this particular style of interaction, I consider is a lot nicer than what we have for kind of the SVG fill that we've got going on here. This isn't bad, but it's not quite as nice as those other ones. And the other ones are already set up to be responsive. And I think one of you might have and maybe it's Ashish actually, but one of you might have an open issue already on layer 5 to interface with those. And then Shubham was saying, can you also open in your web browser on your PC? Oh, there's a bit of an overlay in the community section when we hover over the mouse in the community section. Yeah. So Shubham, actually, probably I would suggest instead of us investing in the current buttons that are there, that do that blue fill from bottom to top, that we would put in time into the other buttons. They're in these files called Hori Social for horizontal social and Vert Social on layer 5 IO. I'm going to bring up the fact that there's an open issue. So Shubham, maybe if you would, if you create an issue about this, that would be great, because we need to displace those buttons. The issue that's open under layer 5 repo, there's a current one open. Actually, it's to animate the vertical social buttons. So let me tag you, Shubham, on this, because this may be something that you want to pick up. If you do pick this up, you'll become familiar with these buttons, and you can then displace. You can displace the ones on /Meshery, the ones that are not responsive. You can displace them with these better ones. That would be great. That would be really helpful. Okay. Fair enough. It looks like we've got a small crew gathered today. So guys, I'm going to switch over and talk about some general updates in the community. But Shubham and Anand, if you guys have to drop, I totally get it. I'm going to hit these fairly quickly to the extent that you have time. But if you don't feel bad. I know you got to go. So the quick updates are that there's O'Reilly has turned down what they call the Velocity. That's their conference, or one of their conferences. It's very infrastructure ops centric. They've turned down that name and are recreating it under a new brand. There'll be new co-chairs, and some of us will be helping with being on the program committee for reviewing papers that come through. They just extended the deadline, which ended on Tuesday of this week. They extended it by another week, so it doesn't end until next Tuesday. If anyone is inclined to speak there, which I consider is open to everyone on this call, then let me know, let Garish know. We'll help in writing the CFP, we'll help in co-presenting if you want to, or just help you get positioned so that you're best to present unto your own. And there's a bunch of topics. And I think at this point, with what you guys know, there's a fair number of things that you can present on. And if you don't know it, I'll certainly spend the time to help you know it so that you can be confident and share with others. So anyway, think about that. The second one is pretty neat in that Ant Weiss, who's within the Meshery, within the Layer 5 community here, he just got done sharing this week, I think it was this week, either this week or last, a bit about Layer 5 and Meshery on stage at Cloud Native Tel Aviv. And he shared the YouTube here, so we're certainly going to go promote that and talk about it. That's great. Also, some of the rest of your work was presented yesterday or Wednesday, I think it was Wednesday, at Kubernetes Forum, which is like a Kubernetes Day in Sydney, in Australia, by Paul Bowers. Paul has been on this call in the past. He's a principal engineer at Microsoft. So he shared about what Meshery's capabilities are. It's great. Speaking of publicity, Nuno's tying off a blog post, Meshery WSL2, K3D, and what was the other technology? Was it Docker?
Yeah, great. It needs to be Docker because of the K3D. And yeah, so it's how to, let's say, have Meshery on WSL2 and K3D. Meaning it's really just to try it out. I'll put it like as a, how to say, like an entry demo. Yeah. Because K3D is non-intrusive. So it won't mess up with your current Kubernetes. It's K3S on Docker. So yeah,
it's awesome.
There's stuff. Now it will be. It's nice. So the blog post is kind of written already, and then I will harass a lot Girish for the at least Grafana maybe just to have like, let's say, a full view of what Meshery is at the end of the day, just not the install.
Awesome. Yeah. Oh, good. Well, and Nuno, just in time for that post, there's a new set of resources. There's essentially a brand kit that went up under Layer 5. It's layer5io/brand. And on this page, you're able to download, and most of these were already put into the Meshery community drive, but you're able to download the Layer 5 logos, their color scheme, some bookmarks if you guys want to print them out, and as well as Meshery logo assets you're able to download and get the full vector images of.
Yeah, can you? Sorry, I will have a look when I reach home or tomorrow. But can you just go up a little bit? I think I will use this Meshery vertical Meshery, because like that I can add it to the terminal and I can do the print screen with that.
Ah, nice. Okay. Yeah. Well, this
Do
is.
you have like a Meshery by layer 5? That's it. That's what is written below. Sorry, I'm on mobile, so I cannot read.
No, I don't know that we do actually. Of the Meshery ones, the tagline under there, and by the way, each of these are not hyperlinked, so that's an open issue that somebody could take on. But
Oh, okay, perfect. I see it now. Yeah.
yeah.
Multi-mesh manager. Okay.
And to be honest, I think that that tagline needs to be increased in size just a bit because it is a little more difficult to read. The same thing for layer 5. The tagline there probably needs to be brought up just a bit bigger. So good. So I want to make sure everyone knew that was available. And then that's it in terms of announcements. I think. Okay, got it. Shubham. Yeah, thanks for coming. Yeah. See you next week, Shubham. Bye, guys. All right. And then, does anyone else have anything they want to share today? I think I know I was out for a couple of weeks. reInvent, KubeCon, Thanksgiving, and so I expect that we'll have maybe some lighter attendance over the holidays, but I'm hoping we'll come back strong. Well, I'm hoping we'll pick it up over the holidays, but come back strong early next year as well. I think Nuno had said he's going to be out for a couple of weeks, sipping on martinis.
Yeah, I still don't drink, so it will be martini, alcohol free. I don't know if it even exists, but yeah, why not? No, I will be doing a lot of Word files. No, and more seriously, I like I said, I'm gonna be like writing some 2 or 3 blogs, Meshery, Porter, WSL, and yeah, next year is the big year. So Meshery, like I said to Lee before, I will be presenting, or let's say not presenting, but showing just Meshery to install it on another K Kubernetes cluster during the WSL conference in Redmond.
Yeah. I forgot to capture that actually. I'm gonna get that into the meeting minutes. So WSLconf.dev. There's the first ever WSL Conf coming out, and Nuno is right on the front page of speakers at the conference. So he's going to take that as an opportunity to talk about WSL and use, I think, Meshery as kind of the example app, and that's awesome.
Yeah, the Kubernetes server that I will be using is MicroK test, so I will also be blogging about that. So.
Very good, MicroK test. Okay, and this is in part, Nuno, in collaboration with Canonical.
So yeah, they are my sponsors for the travel actually.
Oh man, that's how it is. You get famous, and then they just start throwing the money your way. It's just That's what happens.
Well, not too famous. That's okay. If the trouble is already there, then that's cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, Garish, do you have anything this week? Anybody have anything else?
I have some in flight, but I mean, they're not yet completed, so I think it'll be better if we can just show it next week. So
Okay. Okay. Anand, man, good luck on your exams. Oh, he just dropped. Okay, good. Nuno, good to see you. Garish.
Yeah, thank you both.
Yeah.
And next week I will be here. The week after, I'm not really sure. Like the 2 other weeks, post Christmas and post first year. But next week definitely I will be connecting.
Oh, okay. You could also up your game a bit. Maybe move from IPv4 to IPv6. Like if you're going to continue to talk about IP addresses.
Yeah, I need to have .x files then. 64-bit word. I understand.
Nice.
And put the layout in how do you say, horizontal mode, because the lines are bigger now.
Oh man.
Oh.
Well, very good. It was nice to talk to you earlier.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, ping me early next week when you're going through stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
I will. Sorry, I'm reaching the bad connectivity. But I will ping you beginning of next week. It's okay.
Nice. Very good. Talk to you guys later.
Okay. Thank you both. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye, guys. Bye.